Okay, we are live, and I'll just give it a few seconds so that people can join the chat. I normally don't do the live streams at this hour of the day or night. It's now 4:30 here in Norway, but this is probably a good time to do live streams for people over in the USA and Canada and so on. So I'm going to share some thoughts about what's ahead of us. Hard times um, are here. No longer are we talking about what could happen. Well, some are, but when preppers typically talk about SHTF coming. Actually, now we can say that it's here, and I'll get into that. I'll get into that. Lots of people are joining. That's wonderful to see. Now, I'm sorry about the sound quality. I'm in my gym, and the reason for that is that the rest of the family is asleep, and I didn't really want to sit in my office right now. So I'm in the gym. So that's why you have this. Well, it's not the best room to do live streams in because of the sound, but I hope you can hear me. Let me know if there is anything wrong with the sound. Well, if you can hear me, let me know. Um, and we'll just continue. So lots of people are joining here. I am hoping that we won't get too many trolls and stuff like that. What I'm going to do here is that okay. Let's see here. Yeah. Let me know if any of you want to be moderator, and if needed, I will make you moderator. But so far, so good. Okay, so the situation now is that energy, the price of energy, is skyrocketing. And I hear people in several countries, they are complaining about this, and rightly so. In Norway, the price in the southern half of Norway, because the price is not the same in the entire country of Norway. Okay, let's see here if I can. Sorry about that. Yeah, Redneck Eden, you are now a moderator. So if we get, the Bible bullies and or general haters, just get rid of those comments. But so far, so good. Disagreement is okay, but when we get people with the propaganda, that's not. This is not the place for that. But so far, so good. Okay. Yeah. So basically, we have had a 1,000% increase of energy or electricity. So, in case you didn't know, in Norway, we don't use gas to heat our homes. We use electricity. Norway is a country with a surplus of energy. We have actually from decades ago, long time ago, we have we have green energy in Norway. Uh, the waterfalls were not all of them, but many of them were made into water generators, basically. And even though it doesn't look so nice out in nature, it is green energy. And almost a day after they laid that pipeline over to the UK, and this happened recently, and they were going to open up and join the European market much more than before. And almost the day after, the prices of electricity in Norway started rising, and they started rising rapidly. It is not correct when they say that it is the war in the Ukraine that is the main reason for the increased energy prices. At least in Norway, that is just not correct if you look at the numbers. So let's see here. Yeah, so far so good. So a 1,000, it goes up and down a little bit, but several hundred percent increase to 1,000% increase. Now the energy analysts are talking about a 2,000% increase when we enter the colder months of winter here in Norway. What that means is that a lot of people will have problems paying their bills. Now, there is I won't get too much into the details here, but we now have a socialist government in Norway, sadly, and they are saying that we're going to pay the bill for you somewhat. But even though there will still be a significant increase in what you actually have to pay, because they're not paying all of it. And I think if you have a minimum amount of understanding of how things work, you know that what they are really saying is that you're going to get that bill when you pay the taxes instead. And the taxes have been increased as well. So let's just leave that there. Now, let's talk about Trump. Not Trump now, but the Trump who won when he won the election. That was not supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to happen. It was a big shock to several people in positions of power, let's just call it that. And I think what happened there was that you got a delay. I think I've said before, I'm not a big fan of Trump, but I would certainly have voted for Trump if the alternative was Hillary or Biden. But anyway, that was a delay. And I think it was a delay. And that's why they were so infuriated, these people. That's why you had the people in Google being caught saying that, well, we're going to make sure this doesn't happen again. So, and they did. They made sure that it didn't happen again. Now you have a very different system in power in the USA. Now, I think that what we are seeing now is, I'm going to be careful here, so that I don't say anything wrong. But what we are seeing now is very much world leaders, world nation governments, all in agreement more or less on what they are going to do how things are going to move forwards, and so on and so on. Matthias is awake. That's awesome. I saw you started doing live streams again. That's wonderful. And Redneck Heathen is telling us getting off grid is a good choice. I just posted a video about it today. Energy prices and food are getting insane. Yes, I'll leave that comment there because I was just getting into that. So basically, we are looking at a future where people will be much more dependent on the grid or the system. I believe that Biden, a president who actually called himself, that was before I believe he was elected, a transitionary president. I remember that. Can you remember that? He called himself a transitionary president. Transition into what? At the time, I must admit, I thought he said that because he's old. Transition into what? I guess we are now seeing where we are heading and what that transition is all about. So a system with much more dependency is what we're looking at. And some people like that, I guess. It's convenient to some people to have the choices made for them. To me, I can't have a good life in a system like that. It's just not possible. And I know a lot of you guys, you are the same. North Shore Preparedness, good to see you. Good to see you. And what so what we're seeing now is a dependency on the government to pay your bills when it comes to electricity at least, and maybe gas as well. I think in other countries there is the same system where the government are saying, well, we're going to help you, we're going to pay the gas bill or electricity bill for you. What they're really saying is that we're going to increase your taxes. You'll get that on your tax bill instead. So so you have that. You have a future where your mobility will be, one, limited, and two, monitored. And I'm saying that because it's been decided by the EU that after 2030 there will be no more sales of diesel or petrol cars. Now we have in this household we have a petrol car and we have an electric car. We have an electric car because of the money we save on that. That's my wife's car, and she can charge that. Until recently, I believe she could charge the car at her workplace for free. I don't think she can do that anymore. But the problem with that, I believe, is that you need to have an app on your smartphone when you log on to these charging stations. Now we're getting into a lot of stuff here. I've said before that if you want to get off the grid, I'm sorry, but you'll have to ditch the smartphone. And I can't believe the stupidity when people, especially preppers, and I'm sorry to say this, but they're talking about all these things that they're going to tag you. Oh, they're going to tag you with it under the skin and so on and so on, while making a video or live streaming on their smartphone. They don't need to tag you because you always have that monitoring device in your pocket, you know. But anyway, What I'm trying to say is that if you don't have a smartphone, you won't be able to have an electric car in the future. And in the future, there won't be any new cars or diesel cars. I would rather walk than having a smartphone. I'm not going back to have a smartphone. They're not going to pressure me into that. It's not going to happen. I refuse to let these people take choices for me, and I think that's the attitude you need to have moving forwards. Now, some people might disagree. That's okay. That's totally fine. But I think that we really need to look at ourselves in the mirror and ask ourselves, what do we want now moving forwards? Will we be part of what's coming? And I'm not talking about psyop, global psyop. We don't even have to get into that, because we can just, it's more than enough when we look at what is actual stated facts. And when we take the stated, agreed upon facts that nobody is discussing, okay, that's more than enough. That's more than enough. And so that's that's the basis of my reasoning here, actually. I'm not guessing. Well, if I do, I tell you, but I'm just looking at what we know, what is a fact, what's going on. And that's the basis for my reasoning here, okay? So another thing is that and this is an unpopular opinion to have, okay? Taxes are going up. And the thing here is that these people are saying we're going to make taxes more fair. So the rich are going to pay more taxes. Yeah. What does that mean? It means that we're all going to have to pay more taxes. Someone's going to have to pay for the party, okay? So all the costs of they bought some medicine that they said everyone needs to have, even though if you're not sick, you need to have it. Someone's going to pay those bills. It's not going to be taken out of thin air. Someone's going to have to pay for the electricity aid. So the taxes are going up. And I find it a little bit frustrating that people just nod their head. Well, oh yeah, the rich, they need to pay more. Can't you see what's going on? When they say the rich, it's you. It's you. That's code word for everyone. But anyway, now let's see here. I have some mental notes before these live streams. Let's see now. I'm not going to get into everything, but yeah. So there certainly is a lot that we could get into. But what we know is that things are hard. Things are going to get harder, and we need to look at this for what it is. This is an SHTF situation. SHTF, for those who didn't know, it's a term in the prepping community. S means I won't say the word. manure hits the fan. Okay. And there are no zombies in this SHTF. Well, the normist or the people that just follow the mainstream narrative, they are often called zombies, but not zombies like in the movies. There are no natural disaster. Well, of course, now and then there is, but and yeah, there's the climate thing as well. We could get into that. I think we won't in this live stream, because I want to get into what we can do. Now, I don't have all the answers. I can only speak for myself, and I can tell you that, well, we don't have that much debt, D-E-B-T, debt. Why do you have a B there? Shouldn't be a B there. Oh, well, we don't have much of that. So we're going to get rid of what we have. The reason for that is that we are in a position where we can. The housing market could crash. It doesn't really bother me so much when you don't have a mortgage. You're like, well, of course, I would prefer the value of my houses to be the same or increase. But if it crashes in, well, let's say I sell my houses, okay, and buy a new one, you know, then I would buy a house that also had decreased in price. So you're in the same market. To the moderators, can we get this woman beater fans comments out of the, if you see that, I'm not this Tate character. I'm not tolerant towards people like that, so we're just going to get rid of it. Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, North Shore preparedness. Keep the language family friendly. This is important, okay? So just going to take a little bit of a look here. Yeah, let's see here. I'm sorry about this. I just have to. Yeah, North Shore is a moderator already, of course. So, yeah, okay. Okay, so now completely lost my train of thought there. Now, thank you, Matthew, for reminding me. Dark Winter, like the tabletop exercise the US had. Well, I guess there's this thing where they have these drills or they practice on a scenario, right? Like the World Economic Forum and so on and so on. They do, and what some people are saying is that they are then planning for what they are going to make happen. I won't conclude on that one because I believe that they are doing several of these drills, and some of them happen. Okay. So I'll leave that up to you guys. You'll make your own conclusions anyway, of course, and you should. You know, I'm not your oracle here, of course not. Um, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Bringing me back to topic here. Bringer of change. It would be better if we independently generated our own power rather than relying on a plant owned by someone else. Yes. Exactly. Now, someone said, I'll use Norway as an example. Someone said that because of the how far the technology has gotten in when it comes to solar panels, even in Norway, with less sunlight during winter, um, it works. It's a good technology for even Norway. So why don't we use the money that goes to rubbish stuff like big companies that are telling us that, well, we are going green and all that. Why don't we give that money to people instead, so that they or support them more, so that they can to buy solar panels, because you could put that on your roof, and if you also have these small wind generators, not talking about the big ones, of course, killing birds and destroying nature, not talking about those. Have you seen those they have on boats? Like I had one on my former boat, and it was fantastic. You put it on a pole like 3 meters tall, for instance, and it's fantastic. And if you don't, it does generate a slight, very low noise, but you can just turn a wheel and close it so it doesn't make any noise. So you can easily get enough electricity for a normal house. When we move, we will be off grid. We have decided on that because we don't want to be part of this grid anymore. So, yeah, okay. So, wind power is useless in winter. Why? It works fine. I can tell that for a fact. As someone said here, you only need something to turn around to create electricity. And during winter, we have normally quite a lot of wind here. It's windy. Wind power is useless. It really isn't. I lived on my boat. We had all the lights on. We had the refrigerator. We had everything we needed there, and it was wind powered. So I have to tell you that if you have solar panels and one or two small wind generators, you can power your house with all the electricity you need. You should have a wood burning stove as well, and then you're fine. Then you can go off grid. Um, I think you get things mixed up here. And Texas wind turbines froze with, yeah, okay. Okay. this is not very interesting to people, because if you have a boat here, if you have any experience with this, you know that it works. There's a reason why people use them. Okay. So if you get a lot of snow on them, well, just shake it off then. We're not talking about the big ones. We're talking about the small wind turbines. Okay. The pole is 3 meters tall. So please, guys, I know what I'm talking about here. I have lived for several weeks on a boat powered by wind generators. So please get real here. So, yeah, but anyway, okay. Now, so we are seeing some hate. Well, not maybe hate, but some people hate that technology. You know, that's fine. You know, do what you like. I can just tell you that it works, and it's wonderful. If you want to go off grid, you can use solar panels and a couple of wind generators, and it will keep you with electricity. It will charge your battery bank. You will be fine. Um, so, but this is YouTube, and some people then envision these huge, big wind turbines. I'm not talking about that. But anyway, so a Springer of Change, says that it would be better if we then independently generated our own power rather than relying on a plant owned by someone else. Exactly. You should have a wood burning stove, and you should be also looking at how you spend energy. Okay, so I think that people have gotten a little bit spoiled. You can have a wonderful, luxurious life without having all the lights on, for instance. You don't need that. I'm, I'm at, I'm, you could say I'm middle aged actually now, and when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, we were told by our parents that don't leave the lights on. You know, you switch the lights off. You don't use more electricity than you have to. That's a good thing. That's a good rule. You know, so. Let's see here. Tommy says solar panels, and I don't know what an MPPT charger, inverter and portable. Yeah, I'm not. I have to admit I'm totally useless when it comes to the electric wiring and stuff. I have done. I have wired my. I did wire that other boat that I had, but well, not entirely, but some of it. But I'm quite useful when it comes to that. Brian, good morning. um, let's see here. Redneck Heathen, thanks a lot for the donation. Yeah, what you're saying there is absolutely true. So many people here who don't live off grid making comments, and they clearly don't have first-hand experience. Exactly. Let me give you another example of off grid living. Now, up until recently, when we went for vacation up in the mountains here in Norway, we went off grid. The cabins up in the hills there, they usually didn't have electricity. So you would have some paraffin lamps, you would have a wood burning stove or two. And well, I guess now, recent years, that's been, people have had electricity installed for couple of decades now. But again, I'm remembering my childhood and my youth. Now I sound old, but all the cabins, they were off grid, and that was so wonderful. I mean, it's a different kind of living. I remember washing using water that we heated on the wood burning stove, you know, um, and that was something that I looked forward to, being up there and living a somewhat different life for a week or a weekend. So, and that's off grid. It's off grid, and it was totally normal. And now I'm seeing that because we are actually looking at, well, we are interested in buying a cabin up in the mountains. Um, but a lot of those cabins now, they are off grid. The newer cabins are, several of the newer cabins are off grid, because the people who built them, they didn't really see any reason to connect to the grid. So they will have they drilled for water, and they have solar panels and a wood burning stove, because the technology is awesome. So there is no need to connect to the grid. Um, let's see here. Um, let's see. Uh, Joel says the day you retire or stop your job, you're officially old. Um, I I have decided to. Well, I have now started to, well, officially actually from today, believe it or not, to go into part-time part-time retirement, which means that no longer will I be working 60-hour weeks. I will go down to 50% of that. I will go down to 30-hour weeks. And I'm already struggling with that, but I have to do it. I have to do it. Um, because I want to be able to go for hikes, longer hikes, and travel more. Well, at least in Norway, I can travel to Sweden, the UK. Oh, I am so looking forward to going back to Scotland and England. Oh, I've been waiting for that for many years now. But Sergey is asking, being from Norway, is there something that has surprised you about your international audience? Yes, a lot of things. Um, and we have jokes about this in Norway. Before I'll tell you a little bit about that because it's kind of funny. But before I do that, I will say that I think Norwegians have a lack of understanding of other countries. So it's not like we know it all here in Norway. It's not like that. But anyway, when people have this strange idea of Norway, actually, so there are stories when about, and I'm sorry to say this, but the stereotypical American here is not American, but American tourist. That's the kind of the people that come on the cruise ships, like older American people, and they will ask, "Where are the polar bears?" Because they think that there will be bears walking in the streets of Oslo. I don't know if that is true. It's kind of a joke. But what has surprised me is this idea that we don't have guns in Norway, or Europe. That's kind of that has surprised me. It doesn't, because that's not true, you know. Another thing that has surprised me is that people, again, America, they seem to think that Norway is a socialist country. uh, um, and that's, well, I'm glad it isn't. But no, Norway is not a socialist country, and it's not even socialist compared to the USA, by the way. We are more conservative on when it comes to several things. And another thing, yeah, Mike, I'm sorry, I have to disappoint you. We don't have polar bears here. Yeah, people seem to forget that Europe is, you know, is a continent of war. Now, I had when Berserker Young 2019 visited me, he went with a metal detector. He found Second World War bullet behind my house. In the, you know, it's like, no, this is a continent of war. Sadly, I must add. Elisa is asking, why is it the people that travel that are the ones that are the most ask the most stupid questions? Well, I don't know, but at least when you travel, you learn stuff about other places. Yeah, okay. So when I said off the grid, I meant off the grid. So exactly, we're not talking about the wind turbine thing. So just to make it very clear, we're talking about that you have your own little wind turbine. They're not very expensive. They are about this big, like, and they are round because it goes round and round. And there's a little wheel you can turn on so it doesn't go around anymore if you don't want the sound. But you typically, when you have the afternoon breeze that we get here, you switch it on, you know, and it charges the batteries. And it goes a wire from it to your battery bank, and it works with your solar panels. Typically, during winter, it's quite windy, not that much sun, so that's when you need the wind generator. Okay. So we're not talking about connecting to the big ones. We're not talking about destroying nature. We're talking about these small ones that you have on boats. Okay. Yeah, I tried to pull off a joke there the other day. I said that there are only 11 guns in Europe, and we go to a museum to see them. That was a joke. Not everyone got that joke. Yeah. Anyway. Let's see here. Yeah, these Redneck Kitten says don't buy a cheap Amazon wind turbine. These wind turbines, if you're interested in that, I would go to one of those companies that sets up the whole thing to go off grid. They will typically sell a package with solar panels and one or two of these wind turbines and a battery bank. And all the stuff that you need there. Or you could go actually to one of those boat equipment suppliers. I would not buy the cheapest, and I would have a look at the noise level, because I've heard that some of the cheaper ones are noisy. You don't want that. You want one of those that doesn't really make any noise at all. You know, the one on my boat was very silent. um, Bob, good to see you. Good to see you. Um, yeah, you get them for camper vans, I guess, as well. Yeah. Let's see here. I know a lot of the preppers who have gone off grid, they have installed a system like that. I think you can do it if you know a little bit about electricity. Um, Myself, I'm a little bit worried that I that I'll put the wires in the wrong places and it will. So I will have someone to help me with that. uh, Are you asking me how many days does it take to Iceland? Well, you can sail to Iceland in not too many days, actually. Well, it's some distance, but it's uh, it's totally possible. Yes, if you get the wiring wrong, you could fry your beard, and we don't want that, of course. But to get back to the topic a little bit, I said in the last live stream, I think that you have to make a choice now. It really is now. And now you don't have to drop everything and run off into the woods, but you have to make a choice. Some people call it drawing a line in the sand. I think it's not realistic to ask people to make all the changes today. And I think it was you who said that, Matthias, in your live stream yesterday, that you hear people saying that if you haven't prepared now, if you're not prepared for SHTF now, it's too late. Rubbish, you said. I think, and I agree, because you never give up. Now I'm rephrasing you now, Matthias, but you never give up. Of course, it would be better if you had started to prepare already, and it's good if you can start today, and you shouldn't wait for very long, okay? Because it gets harder and harder and harder. So, I mean, make a choice now. Are you willing to live in the system that's coming? And it will be a system with a lot more control over the individual and a lot less individual freedom. And now this is so important to understand. People are different. People are not the same. Um, and I'm sorry, I might seem a little bit, self-obsessed here, but I'm sitting here alone, so I'll use myself as an example. But I'm a novelist. Um, I don't even know what it's like to get paid by other people for having work. I'm totally independent. I've been independent for my entire adult life. Actually had to ask my accountant about, because of the taxes, my money goes into my company now, and I'm now paying myself wages. I started that. I've started to set that up now. And I had to ask him, how does that work? So my accountant said, well, you need this card from the authorities where it says a percentage of taxes. and so on and so on. But anyway, um, I I think that some people are just more freedom loving than other people, and you could say that, well, they will make it difficult for you. Yeah, they are already making it difficult, and I'm sure that since we are talking about people with no ethics and no morals, they they will just make it more and more difficult. But I would rather live with no luxuries, um, totally disconnected from society, than being dependent on the system that's coming. And I'm not talking about a, you know, I'm don't get me wrong here. I don't subscribe to the conspiracy theories about what's coming. I'm just looking at the facts to the best of my abilities. And I think that what is coming, what has already started, what we are seeing now, is a system where individual freedom is being taken away. And they will take it away not by forcing some tracking device under your skin. They will do that by taking away your money. They will do that by introducing a state-controlled um, digital money system. What do you call it? A cryptocurrency. Yes, it is here now, as Ironwood Workman says. It is here now. Um, and people, I've said this before many times, most people will be happy. Yeah, I've come to the conclusion that when they say that you will own nothing and you will be happy, for most people, that's true. Because what is happiness? What is happiness? To me, happiness is waking up in the forest on a hike, and I know that I have the day off. I will be walking, maybe to through some area that I've never seen before. That's happiness to me. Um, but some people, to them, they don't really know what happiness is, but they will be okay. They will feel comfortable as long as they can sit their ass down in the sofa, watch reality TV, and eat some processed crap. And I think we all understand that. Now, you guys are not like that. So um, we have to choose a different path, or we have already chosen a different path. And it's, I don't think we have a choice. I think, well, Redneck Heathen, thanks a lot for moderating, and have a good night's sleep. um, and you know, we have. I think we have to make some changes if we haven't already. So a lot of people, no, not a lot of people, but I can say that when I started prepping, buying food, for instance, um, in my household, we all understand what's coming. Okay. But I told my extended family that, probably should buy some food now, food that you're going to eat anyway. What if you have food shortage? That will mean that it will be more expensive, and so on and so on. Well, guess what? That's what happened. Now we can go into our pantry and get some food there and eat that. Of course, that it's not like it's a never-ending supply in the pantry, but if we started struggling financially now, at least we have the food. So and some of that food that we have stored is now almost double in price, and these things matter. Do you have firewood? Do you have a wood burning stove? I think that's going to be, I think you really need to have that. And if you live in a city, you live in a flat, you probably don't have a wood burning stove, but you save so much money. So much money. I'm going to cut up some more firewood today, actually, and I like doing that. It's therapeutical to me. And yeah, so we have enough to last through winter and spring at least, and we save a lot of money on that. And it's not like we can't pay. Sorry, it's not like we can't um, pay our bills. It's not like that. But this is stupid money we're talking about. It's stupid money. So why? I mean, paying electricity bills that have that are now 1,000% higher. It's just ridiculous. And yes, I guess you could say that yes, the Norwegian government are paying most of that bill for you. So, and since that is just moved from the electricity bills into your tax bill, then saving electricity doesn't really apply. It doesn't matter if I save electricity by having a wood burning stove, because I'm paying for other people's electricity anyway, if you follow my reasoning there, through my tax bill. But it might be so that they will stop supporting you with paying or supporting your electricity bill. I don't know, but anyway, I think it's wise to do these things. And preppers have been talking about this for a few years now. It is a shame that some of the preppers, they always say, "Oh, it's the next month. Someone in the military told me," and yada yada yada. Because it takes away from their credibility. But they have been talking about this for a while, and we could say I'm a prepper as well, and because I do have that preparedness mindset, and now it's here. This is an SHTF scenario. It's one of the scenarios that have been talked about. Maybe not the one scenario that was that most people predicted, but some did. And when the politicians are now saying that, and I don't know if you've heard them saying this, but they do say this in Norway at least, nobody could see that Russia would invade the Ukraine. Oh, and nobody could predict the skyrocketing energy prices. We're talking about energy in general, petrol, gas, electricity. Nobody they say. Well, maybe they say nobody because they were busy counseling the people who warned about this. Maybe they say nobody because they were calling people like myself and others names. Maybe they are saying nobody because they are trying to own the narrative. In fact, quite a number of people warned about this. Quite a number of people warned about the crisis in the Ukraine. And a lot of people said that if you go through with this new, I think that you call it the Green New Plan or something in the USA, in the Green something. If you go through with this, we will have an energy crisis. We will not have enough energy. And when winter comes, there will be a serious crisis, a shortage of energy. Guess what? It's happening now. And it's Green New Deal. Okay, yeah, Green New Deal. So it's one of these cases where you say, I wish I wasn't right, or I wish I had been wrong on this. Yep. Susie Cat says, all this is the cost of COVID and lockdown, and Green New Plan is killer. It wasn't like people out there didn't warn about this. I mean, they did. But these politicians, they went through with it anyway. Yes. American Misfit says Trump warned Germany about their dependence on Russian oil during his presidency. They laughed at him. Yes. We can't credit Trump with anything good, can we? No, can't do that because he's just an awful man, isn't he? Now, that was ironic, by the way. I need to remember to make it very clear when I'm being ironic. Jean, I'm sorry to hear that. My best wishes to you. I hope you get better. And I will say that, okay, no matter your situation, no matter where you are, someone's saying that, where was that? Can't go off grid up here as well. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So there's always something you can do. Okay. And I'll say one thing here. Might be a little bit gloomy, but we are all dying. The clock is ticking for us all. And I think that we can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow or today. The only thing we can do is to make the best out of the situation. We can't control everything. Well, in fact, there is very little we can control. But you can control your situation now and today, maybe even tomorrow. You can do something to improve your situation now and tomorrow. And if you can't control the situation tomorrow, maybe only today. And if you can't control it today, maybe you can at least control the next 2 hours. So yeah. So do we have some trolling here? I don't want that. We are Okay, I want just show some respect here and be kind to each other. Okay, so good point here from Matthias. Matthias says, if you can't go off grid, does not mean we can't prepare in some way. Exactly. Now, I'm not off grid. It's it's difficult to get off grid where I live now, so we are not. But if they cut the power, we at least we would be sort of okay. We wouldn't freeze, and we would probably manage. Now my boat is off grid, and it will be a little bit of a squeeze, but we could live on the boat actually with the dogs and the entire family. I'm going to keep my boat on the water through through this winter. I'm getting it lifted to clean it and put anti-fouling on it, and then back in the water. And why am I doing that? For the record, in Norway, it's normal that you keep a boat on shore during the winters, but I'm going to keep it in the water this winter as well. And the reason for that, and I need everyone with a prepper mindset here to have an open mind now. I live by the coast. If something bad happens, the first thing they do is they close the border to Sweden, well, and Finland and Russia. No, hold on. What am I saying? My geography. No. I'm sorry about that. You can have a look at the map yourself. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that, but they will close the border. Okay, so we can't go to Sweden and we can't go to Russia. Okay, so don't know why I said Finland, but anyway, my point here is that you go across the sea. If you have to leave, you go across the sea. Why would we want to leave? Well, if one of the rockets hits one of the nuclear power plants in the Ukraine, for instance, that could be a reason. So just saying that, going west might be a better option, yeah. So at least I want to have that option. That's why my boat will be on water. Yeah, it would be horrible if that happens. Now, I'm going to say something now. I always say something that makes me lose a few subscribers. I'll say this now. I think I hate Putin, and one reason only. He has gotten Russia into a situation where they are practically actually fighting around nuclear power plants. Now, you can discuss all day long about who is to blame and this and that, and I don't care. I really don't care. Because you can't expect a country just to hold up their hands and say, yes, come and take this area. The Ukraine would put up a fight, and Russia knew that. anyone who starts something that could result in blowing up a nuclear power plant gets my hate, if you know what I mean. So, just saying it as it is, I'm expecting some trolling in the chat now. So here it comes. Yeah, I think I don't know why, but I don't know why, but we'll see. I will ban people from the channel if they act up on this, but so far so good. Okay. Yeah, so that's a big problem the way I see it. That's a big problem. I remember Chernobyl. I remember sitting there watching the news, and I'm still amazed actually that my parents at the time, they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. So now, some of you are younger, so if you don't know, you know about the Ukraine. No, sorry, Chernobyl. Did I say Ukraine? Chernobyl. I mean, it's I'm a bit tired here. Yeah, here it comes. Here it comes. So, the toxic cloud, and I'm sure there will be people who are saying this is fake as well. I don't care. That's good if you're leaving. If that's how it's like, that's fine. You get triggered very easily. You're emotional. I understand that. That's fine. Take America back from Israel. Okay, I see. So anyway, on TV, they showed us how the toxic cloud was moving north. It was only the wind direction that saved us somewhat. And did you know that reindeer meat is still radioactive in Norway? Oh yeah, it did reach Norway, but it reached the northern parts of Norway, and not as bad as it could have been. But we couldn't eat reindeer meat for a long time. I still don't actually, because it is radioactive. And when tourists travel to Norway, they will be served reindeer meat normally, but there's a certain radioactivity going on there. Now, I don't know how much. I don't know how dangerous it is, but I know that for a fact that it's no, everything has a certain radioactivity. You can pick up a rock and there's a radiation there. Radiation from space and all that. But we're not talking about the normal. I think they called it the background or natural radiation. Not talking about that. So Chernobyl. Well, I think I'm not the right person to get into the technical details there when it comes to Chernobyl, but what I've heard, or to my understanding, it happened because of the whole system of the communist rule in the Soviet Union, where you couldn't really, well, people were not reporting on things they should have been reporting on. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know. I know. It's yeah. I don't know the death toll after Chernobyl exactly, but quite a lot of people. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Tommy. And I think, if you ask people who lived in Europe and who are old enough to remember Chernobyl, if you ask them if nuclear energy is the way to of the future, that we need to build more nuclear energy plants, they will typically say no. Younger people, even though we had Fukushima, is that what it is called? Um, well, anyway, yeah, younger people are more positive, I believe. I think, I don't support nuclear power because I actually think that we need to spend less electric power, a lot less. And it's not so difficult, actually. We waste a lot of electric power. Um, we there is so much you can do. You can go off grid. I mean, um, and I think going off grid is environmentally sound as well. Now, and by the way, the prepper lifestyle is good for the environment. If you look at it, by the way. Now, I don't know what you think about the whole environment and climate change thing, but um, the prepper thing with growing around food and being off grid, it is healthier for you, and it is also cheaper in the long run. So yeah, we have lived thousands of years without power. Now, I myself, I've thought long and hard about this. Okay. Yeah. Um, okay, now sorry, that comment was not for me. Okay. So my point there is I need electric power for my computer and to charge my camera and sometimes my old-fashioned dumb phone. That's all. And you could say, well, you need it for your refrigerator and so on and so on. Well, actually, did you know this? Well, some of you, I know North Shore Preparedness know about this, and some of you other guys as well. You don't need a refrigerator to preserve food. You can do well without a refrigerator. If you have access to an area, a rural area, where people used to live back in, farmers back in the old days, they had these cellars into the ground, dug into the ground, where it was kept cooler, and you can actually use the wind to. They do that in the Arab countries. Some kind of what's it called? Well, some yeah, well, a structure where the wind, it comes in and it cools the stuff inside, basically. Sorry, that was a rubbish explanation. But we can do fine without spending so much electric power. But what I'm seeing is there is no talk about, or very little talk about, saving or not spending so much electric power. What they are saying is that, well, we need to have access to more electric power and all of this thing, root cellar, yes, exactly. And yeah, yeah, earth cellars work well. And also, I lost the comment here, moved up, but winter is coming. So, we use typically, we have what we do is during summer, we have some chairs and stuff on the decking outside, and we have boxes for the pillows. So we put the pillows there in the boxes. And when winter comes, we take the pillows inside and up in the, we store them away for spring. But the boxes we leave outside, and we put food in them because it's cold outside. So it's cooling for free, So there is so much you can do you don't need all that electricity. And again, my former boat, was also my office. I charged my computer again using the little wind generator, and never had any shortage of power, never. And I can work, sometimes I work long days. So again, we can go off grid. We don't need to be connected to the grid at all, and we don't need to use all that electric power. And if you ask me, here's another thing. You know what? What's it called? Smog. They call it. I think they call it. Well, there's something called electric smog, but I think this one is called actually light smog. It's a pollution in your environment coming from artificial lights. It's not good for you, actually. Natural light is much healthier, and this is something that people don't really think about much. Natural light is healthier for you. So, in other words, have you had the lights go out? The lights went out. Oh, we had to light candles. If you remember that, now, doesn't that, it's kind of cozy and it's a different mood. Actually, these people, they have done research on this, and your entire system, your body, works better when you don't have artificial lights. Yeah, sunlight is very healthy. I read. No, I was going to say I read. I didn't read, but I watched a video about, well, two videos actually here on YouTube. Someone who had read a report about sunlight and hormones, or more specifically testosterone. So people, according to that report, people who spend more time out in the sun have a higher testosterone level. And it kind of makes sense, because if you think about us, we are the apes with long legs. We are standing upright. We are hunters, and we were the primates who stood up, and we looked around, and we started chasing other animals, basically. To do that, you need to be strong, and to be strong, you need testosterone. So it makes sense. that, and also testosterone does something with your mood, your stamina, and the whole system. Okay, so basically, it makes sense because we don't have night vision, and so what I'm thinking is that it's a natural. The sunlight switches on the testosterone because you need it when it's daytime. Um, so it's kind of logical. Um, uh, okay. Well, Jeff is saying, didn't you have everything you needed back in the old world, or back in the jungle when you were monkeys? Why did you move forward? Why not stay in the ocean to begin with? Well, Jeff, I'm not saying that we are going to climb back up in the trees. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that since we are facing challenges, increasing costs, and so on, maybe it's sensible to learn about how people survived and thrived and found happiness back in the old days. Now, we're not going to go back into the old days without having access to, you know, antibiotics. And I'm just saying that we can learn from people back then, you know. So, oh, here it is. Yes, Ursus, thank you. The Arabic ancient fridge is called a seer, something like that. Clay pot soaked in water, cooled in the breeze, which is what a brief Google search tells me. Okay, yeah, that one. But also, I saw it's almost like a big chimney, and the wind comes in through a structure there, and something happens there, and it cools what is in the chimney, something like that. Um, okay. Yeah, Rolf. Have a good day or night, and thank you for joining. Um, yeah, Wolf Odin says we also didn't live as long back in the day. That's very true. But again, I'm not saying that we should that we should live 100% like they did back then. I'm just saying that there are techniques that we can use so that we don't spend so much electricity, and that will make things easier for us, you know. So let's see here. Well, Jeff says some in here think we don't need electricity at all, apparently. Well, it's an interesting question. Do you need electricity? Well, I know for a fact that some people they live without electricity. Not many, but some. It's possible. I need electricity because of my work. Basically, I need electricity to use my computer and to charge my cameras and stuff. But as I said, um, Misa, I won't get into that, but I disagree on that one. but I won't get into that now. So what I'm talking about is going off grid and creating your own electricity. So Bernhard says, I've built a rocket stove for cooking and heating. That's wonderful. So I will, that reminds me, yeah, let's see here. Okay, so I'll just, someone lived 6 months without electricity. Connie says that it's not easy but doable. Absolutely. I think for many people it would be impossible to do that without, while still maintaining your work or something. I think, but I couldn't do it. Well, I could if I had to, but then I couldn't write, and but anyway, I'm switching a little bit now to a different topic, somewhat connected. But yesterday I finally got my Polish lavu. Some say lavu. It's a teepee tent. Yeah, so now we know what I mean. And it is, you're going to see it on my main channel in some videos there, probably on my Bjorn Outdoors channel as well. And on my main channel, I'll probably get trolls saying that, well, what are you doing? Why are you not sitting there and complaining about things instead? And so, I don't care. I don't care. The point is, I got the Polish lavu. I'll say lavu because that's what we say in Norway. So basically, it's two. If you didn't know, it's two ponchos, tarp ponchos. One of them, it's military. From the one is from 1985. It's printed on it, and the other one is from 1986. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's kind of primitive when I compare it to my modern lavos or tents, but that's the charm of it, So I'm looking forward to that. It's not for summer. Why? Well, because there is no. It's like it's open underneath, so we get like a million ticks in there. But I'm looking forward to that, and it's old school. Of course, you go out with your Polish lavu. It's a bushcrafting thing, all the bushcrafters, they love the Polish lavu or lavu. So there's a charm in that, and it's a kind of a Cold War military relic. And since I was 13 years old in 1985, and if I had been in the Polish military, I would probably have worn a poncho like that, because it's made out of two ponchos. So we had two people connecting those and making a two-man tent. But this is not entirely disconnected from the prepping thing, or because going old school, as they say, it does teach us something about ourselves, first of all, but also about survival, and also about joy, finding joy in simpler things. And maybe, now I just said that you get ticks in that tent, it's not so good, but you can have a bug net inside, and it's cheap. It's a very cheap level. So going old school, that kind of mindset, maybe it's time to look more into that. Now, I'm not a good example I'm not, because I've spent so much money on gear. Um, it's ridiculous, but anyway. So, True Leaf, thanks for joining as a member. I will do more members only live streams very soon now. Yeah, and yeah, okay. Viking gear. Yeah, more Viking videos coming up as well. Okay. I'm not going to get into anything Viking in this live stream, actually. Again, Connie says biggest thing I missed, and I will add not having electricity, was ice. That's interesting. But once I got a solar system big enough to run a refrigerator, I could freeze my own ice. Yeah. And ice is something you need during summer. Now, I could put a container with water outside in the winter here, of course, and I would have ice because it would freeze. But in the winter, that's not really when you need ice the most. As a warm summer day, that's when you need it. We still have warm weather, which is a bit disappointing, actually, the way I see it. I don't like warm weather so much. The growing season, that's interesting. Well, it's good. You have to know what you're doing, and I don't entirely. So I'm now the growing season is in Norway. I have observed that it's longer now. They are growing 2 crops in a season now, typically. They used only had to have only 1 crop. I seem to remember. So North Shore Preparedness. You can go and check out his channel here. There's the link. So yeah, well, the growing season is good, but I have a challenge now. Now the beets. We have lots of beets. I don't know why I planted so many beets, but we have lots of red beets. I don't like red beets, but my wife does, so that's fine. What else is there? Yeah, squash. I'm getting lots of squash, and but the biggest challenge right now is the tomatoes. We don't have a greenhouse, so the tomatoes are still green. Now it's the 1st of September, so we have about 2 to 3 weeks before it starts getting too cold for the tomatoes to ripen. So I'm just hoping that they will ripen before it gets too cold. So we'll see. But I like tomatoes. So I'm just hoping that it will be not a disappointment, But yeah, we'll see. I'll let you know how it goes. Potatoes. We didn't plant many potatoes this year. They spread actually, because we moved a lot of soil to another place on the land here, and there were potatoes in the soil, and they started growing in that other place. So we only have like a container actually with potatoes. Why is that? Well, actually, potatoes are probably not, knock wood, not going to get expensive in Norway because we have so much potatoes here. And so that's why I didn't really care planting so many potatoes. But I find that's easiest to grow, and I can dig it up, in December if I want to, and it's still fine. Yeah, so we're getting some potatoes, and what else is there? Yeah, well, trying to think now what we have there. But yeah, the growing season is good, but it's not, of course, Norway is a cold country. So, yeah. Half of Jutland is potatoes. Yeah. Yeah, I will bring the tomatoes when we approach frost, or if the plants, they start to weaken when it gets colder. So if we get to that time and the tomatoes are still not red, I will keep them inside, and they will hopefully ripen there. Yeah, beets are good for your arteries and circulation. Absolutely, they are. Okay, Bernhard says Siberia tomatoes will work better for Norway. I will try to remember that. I can't remember. I can remember the sort of tomatoes that we have. The one sort that we have, I don't know which sort it is, because it was actually Matthias Treeman who told me that you can just take a potato and slice it up and put some of the pieces with the seeds in it in the soil, and you will get tomato plants. And we did. They are huge. And the other one is the sort of small tomatoes. You get a lot of them on each branch. You call that plum potatoes or something like that. When it comes to the strawberries, that will be an experiment this year, because I'm going to plant them next to the wall in a place where there is a lot of sun. So what I think will happen is that they will survive through winter, and we will have strawberries. Quite early next year. Cherry tomatoes. Yes, exactly. Yeah. But they're a little bit of a disappointment so far. I guess I'm doing something wrong with the fertilizing thing there. Because I was going to go down to the shore and get seaweed and put that in water and mix it up, and because tomatoes love that, but I never got to it. So yeah, I should have done that probably. So white strawberries. Missa's uncle has strawberries tomatoes that turn black. They are meant to. Okay. So the rabbits got your strawberries, Elisa. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, beans are best for protein. If you mix beans with rice, you have all the essential amino acids. You don't get the unessential amino acids, but the body can, in an emergency, build the non-essential amino acids from the essential ones. So, but maybe you know also that beans are actually toxic if they are not boiled. Now, not you can eat some beans raw. It's not like that's going to kill you. But yeah, I well for Odin. Yeah, I don't like beans either. Yeah. So yeah, lots of people have opinions about beans. Some like them, some don't. Potatoes are also toxic, actually. They need to be boiled. And keep in mind, we have a lot of wild edibles around us. Like where I live, it's like stinging nettles. Stinging nettles. I don't pick stinging nettles, but I know it's very nutritious, and a lot of other plants are as well, of course. We have meadowsweet, we have well, mushrooms, berries, and a lot of other stuff up there in the woods. So yeah, the tops of potato plants are also poisonous. Yeah, I'll finish this live stream. We've been going on for almost 2 hours. I'll finish this live stream by just kind of repeating something that Matthias Treeman said in his live stream yesterday. If you're spending money on something that you really don't need. Typically, addictions like cigarettes and stuff like that. Try to see if you can stop doing that. Okay. It's like nobody needs cigarettes. Actually, it's bad for you. We all know this, but and I guess I have never smoked, but people. So I don't know from personal experience, but people are saying that it's difficult to quit. But for health reasons, you should, of course, but now also because of the costs of living. So this should be a good time to stop smoking or any other unhealthy habit that cost you money. So, it's I can't come up with any other example right now, but that's a good thing to have in mind. And also things like, again, that was Matthias who said that, your subscriptions. Like, do you need your Netflix subscription? Do you need your mobile phone subscription? Does it need to have all those gigabytes, so on and so on? Look into what goes out of your bank account. and see if you can get rid of some of those costs. So diet soda, yeah, exactly. I should probably stop drinking sodas entirely. I'm reducing that now. It's not maybe such a horrible thing, but it's not necessary. Nobody needs sugary sodas, you know. So let's see here. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, again, the fertilizer thing. Yeah, fermentation. Oh no, you're making homemade soda here. Yes, I guess you can do that. Yeah, I was thinking about fermentation. Is that for the plants, for the tomatoes? But yeah, that's another thing that I understand is easy to make. Like this, well, rotting water actually. Well, plant pieces rotting in the water is good for good for plants as a fertilizer. Yeah. Fish meat also. We can't use that because we would have animals digging it up. Yeah. So okay, I'm going to end the live stream now. I will be back tomorrow with a video on the main channel. My main channel is struggling a little bit now with the views and everything, but it seems like YouTube can't decide how many subscribers to delete. They are back to deleting subscribers from my main channel. They do that during US West Coast office hours for some reason. I've seen that before. And then it rises during the day, Norwegian time, daytime, and then it drops again then it drops again as it goes up and down. So it's a bit difficult right now. So yeah, I don't know. I won't get into the whole YouTube thing in this live stream. I've complained enough about that in other live streams, I guess. Okay. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining the live stream here and being part of this community. We'll talk later. We'll keep the conversation going. Okay. Bye.